Just outside Santa Barbara, California, tucked away in the hillside of a 160-acre agricultural preserve, is a fully sustainable, off-the-grid community. The people there build and live in cob homes. They make their own tools and furniture. They raise livestock and very literally live off the land. This is Spirit Pines Sanctuary. Betty, Tatacho, and their 3 kids moved to this land with nothing but pop-up tents and each other. Over time, it grew to this.
It's an accidental, unintentional community that was born out of just the sheer need to have a place for our family to live. We bought the land 17 years ago, lived in a tent until we could figure it out. We didn't have enough money to do anything except for buy the new tent when the old one blew away. And I think it's just evolved into something that I don't really know how to frame it. I don't know what to call it. I think that we imagined coming up here and closing the gate, not disassociating ourselves, but just removing ourselves from the mess. Learning to build structures was exciting and fun to the degree that we didn't even talk to people about what we were doing. They would just call and say, "Hey, we heard you guys are doing this project. Can we come up?" And before you knew it, it was just weekends of people who wanted to come, get their hands dirty, and play in the mud. Well, the first thing about natural building, if you wanted to build a natural building, is that you'd want to source as many of the materials as possible from the area in which you're building. Here, we're lucky. We have really high clay soil, which makes an amazing building material. We have native stones that we can use for our foundation and stem walls. And I have been using a hand scythe and harvesting the wild oats that grow on the hillsides, which is the fiber in the walls. So here we can actually build something without importing anything. We've got water on site and we've got those other ingredients. We've got this soil, which was just dug out of an area where the road wasn't shedding water properly and we wanted to create a better flow. So we took the clay soil from that zone and repurposed it up here. This pile is the horse manure. Our horses work really hard to provide us with this material. And this is a tank of slip hydrating. So that's just the soil over there that's soaking for use as a plaster material. That was half a bucket of sand as 1 part. 1 part sand, 2 parts soil. And you can see how dry it is. The water is hydrating into the clay, so it'll take a little bit more. Almost all the buildings that we have here were built entirely by foot mixed cob. And I would just keep going until I felt like it was completely homogenized, that there weren't patches of sand or straw or clay that hadn't been thoroughly mixed in. The word cob means small rounded mass in Old English. So cobblestone streets are the cobble, is that it's about a fist-sized chunk of something. How we transport this material from tarp to wall is we put it into a cob ball. And that allows us to be able to pitch it to the person that's working on the wall. And you make your cob balls the size that the most frail or smallest person on your crew can easily catch and throw. Sometimes we're going quite a distance from here to one of those other buildings. So there might be 15 people lined up and there's 3 people making cob balls and you're just chucking them to the people in line and there's 2 people on the wall that are catching and building, catching and building. It's really fun. So you're creating a structure, a monolithic structure, starting from the stonework at the bottom, and there's holes in the wall that we use what's called a cobber's thumb and you push it into the wall to help the air get into the center of the wall so that it can dry at a faster rate so that you can build more. And literally within days, you have a structure that you can put a roof on. That really is it in a nutshell. It really is very, very simple.
Part of the idea of Spirit Pines is to share knowledge, information, and skills. Betty learned how to build cob from a workshop in Oregon. She brought those skills back home to build houses for her and her family. And now they teach workshops of their own. People travel from all over the world to come and learn cob building from Betty and her team of instructors.
And that evolved into doing more organized workshops and courses and meeting other people, like-minded people. I don't even know how people found us, but they did. It's weird if there's a day that a car doesn't show up, announced or unannounced, that isn't someone just stopping in to say, hey. We had a low creature comfort level in the beginning. It was literally just tents. We had to hand carry water from the spring down there up with jugs. There was no bathing situation. It was pretty rough. And each year there was a higher degree of creature comfort. There was a little more shelter and a little more comfort, and then running water and then hot running water. The community that you speak of is not so much the people that live here, but the greater community of people sharing information and getting excited about bringing back ancient technologies and ratcheting it up a little bit with some of the newer ways of doing things. You know, there's this melding happening where we can remember a little bit and make it a tiny bit easier and better. I think it was maybe 8 years before we had a little solar electric system. We did a barter. I built a structure at a permaculture farm in exchange for a little solar powered system. And that brought us our first little taste of luxury lights. Our water, we don't have to carry anymore, but we created our own water systems with a spring that we've developed and bring water now to a storage tank that we built. We have composting toilets, so we don't need septic and sewer. So everything's kind of a closed loop system. My goal originally was to have shelter for all my family members within 5 years. And I didn't know if that was a reasonable goal or not, but almost to the day, within 5 years, we had a home for ourselves, my mom, and my 3 adult kids. So we all had shelter, plus 1 or 2 extra ones for other people that were staying here at the time. Tatacho showed me how to work with leather many, many years ago, and I really enjoyed it. So I took it and ran with it and started making leather bags and accoutrements. We did grow broom corn so we could make brooms, not because we need a lot of brooms, but because it's a really sweet skill to know. We try to create as much as we can for ourselves, a handmade life. It's easy to carve a spoon or to carve a bowl, not to say that all of our dishes are handmade, but
knives.
Yeah, our son does blacksmithing. He's an amazing forge worker and creates metal objects of functional art. So Levi, who does the blacksmithing, and he's an amazing hunter, an animal processor. Horsemanship. Just works with animals really well in general. And my daughter, who is just an amazing chef, works with food and processes animals also. So she can field dress any creature in the world. And then Sam is really amazing with people. He's a very gifted builder. So the 3 of them together are so dynamic and make kind of a complete picture. They all complement each other's skills really well and complement our family's skills. They're really happy people, and I like them.
I think as parents, we know they can go anywhere in the world and be able to survive and be happy. And I think that's what a lot of parents look for into their kids, you know.
Spirit Pines is a working model of a sustainable off-the-grid lifestyle. It requires effort, a willingness to learn and share new skills, to problem solve and creatively tackle issues like running water and energy. At a time of frustration and need, Betty and Tatacho looked to the land and they figured something out. They made their own way. And their journey's not over. They will continue to figure this out and make their own way, because that's kind of the point.